Biotech sector, a sector which saved the world in 2020, a sector which saved the world from the pandemic, opened the eyes of the entire world how important we are, small yet powerful. This sector showed us the path during this pandemic. If today we all are able to go out with our 2 jabs, it's all because of the biosciences sector. This sector is ever evolving, and it will continue evolving. Why, you ask? The only reason is the kind of challenges we face as humans, the health challenges, the food challenges, the pollution challenges, whatever, climate change, every problem which this world faces today, which challenges the very existence of humanity, can be solved through this sector. And that is why all the stakeholders of this industry must keep upskilling. That's the need of the hour. And I would like to welcome all of you to this panel discussion cum webinar series brought to you by Biocon Academy and Biotechnika jointly. I welcome all of you to this webinar. Please confirm in chat if you can hear me and if you can see me properly. Right? I'm sure all of you will agree that biotech sector was a savior, but it requires application of knowledge, not just knowledge. It's a knowledge-intensive industry, but applicatory knowledge is what will help you survive, will help you thrive, it'll help you grow. And that is the reason why we have come up today with this wonderful, my favorite topic, upskilling. Narendra Modi, our very own Prime Minister, 6 months ago said, upskill, reskill, and cross-skill. That's how you can grow in this sector, in fact, anywhere in this economy. So here we are with experts as our panel members, and who are going to discuss in detail about upskilling. How can you grow in the biotech sector? How can you grab jobs? How can you get better in your career, right? And we have none other than Biocon Academy panelists, as well as Dr. Reddy's panelists, and representative from the ITBTST Ministry of Government of Karnataka with us. I'm going to introduce to all of them in a short while from now. But before I get started, I would like to bring this up in front of you. Don't take this topic lightly. This topic is going to change your life. And if you just change your life, the entire sector gets revolutionized. This sector is slated to grow to $200 billion in the next 10 years. With the advent of bioinformatics, newer methodologies of drug discovery, CRISPR, NGS, and various other tools and techniques, this sector is going to grow on the shoulders of quantum computing. But if you don't upskill, if you don't reskill, if you just think that my degree is enough, then my dear friend, you are mistaken. You should never, ever think that the degree is enough. You must stand out of the crowd. Everybody's having a degree. But organizations like Biocon Academy, which is a CSR initiative, corporate social responsibility, organizations like Biotechnika, we have been working tirelessly throughout the pandemic and even before that to help you, guide you, mentor you. And today we have all the panelists right here live to guide you. So let's get started, guys. Let me bring up the panelists for today in a short while from now. But before I get started, I would like to congratulate all of you for this decisiveness that you are showing today by joining us for this panel discussion. And now I would like to welcome our panelists. So our panelist number 1, I would like to welcome Dr. Kiranam Chetty. Namaskar, sir, and welcome to the panel. Namaskar.
Hello. Yeah.
I would like to add a few words about him. He's a postgraduate from MKU, Madurai Kamraj University. Followed by that, he did his PhD from University of Mississippi Medical Center in pharmacology and toxicology. And further to that, he worked as a research associate in Stony Brooks University for a duration of 3 to 4 years. Later to that, he has joined Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences as a senior research scientist. And he's also a principal research scientist. Currently, he's senior principal research scientist, actually. And to add to his vast experience, he is also on the editorial board of Helion, Elsevier journal. And Dr. Kindam Chetty is also the head of Center of Advancement of Research Skills at Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences. Welcome, sir. We are so privileged to have you here on board. So, our second speaker, second panelist of the day is Dr. Bala Subramania. Who doesn't know him? He's a PhD in botany from Bangalore University. Namaskar, sir. Welcome to the webinar. He started his career at SAMI Labs, and then he's associated with Karnataka Innovation and Technology Society, Department of Electronics, IT, BT, NST, SNT, Government of Karnataka, as a senior consultant biotechnology for over past 6 years. And he's a very good friend of mine, a very enthusiastic and passionate biologist, and many events he has organized in collaboration with Biotechnika in the past. And I would like to thank you, sir, for joining us for this webinar. It really means a lot to all of us. Our third panelist for today is none other than the academic director of Biocon Academy. Yes, you guessed it right, Dr. Ishwaran. Namaskar, sir. Welcome to the webinar. He holds a MSc in microbiology, MSc MPhil in life sciences, and further to that, he has vast experience in various domains in the biosciences sector. He has been a member of various board of studies for past several years, and currently he is the academic director of Biocon Academy with over past 8 years. In fact, since inception days, I know him. He is, again, a very passionate biologist, a very passionate career designer, I would say a career architect. He has designed the careers of several biotechnologists till date, and I'm really thankful, sir, for you to join this session. And this particular webinar, this particular panel discussion is sponsored by Biocon Academy. Biocon Academy is a wonderful corporate social responsibility initiative which has done enormous good to the society. So I would like to pass on the controls now to Dr. Ishwaran and our panelist. If you guys could add some few words to today's session before we begin. Over to you, Dr. Ishwaran.
Thank you, Shekhar, and really nice words and very pleasant evening today. And as you rightly mentioned, can there be better situation like this where we could have Dr. Reddy's participating, Government of Karnataka participating to discuss about a very important aspect of upskilling and skill development in biotechnology. I would like to spend only 1 minute in letting know how beautiful this subject is. Every biotechnologist is like a music conductor, right? He must know about all the instruments independently, and he should have the skill of combining the efforts, combining the potential of individual instruments to create a very meaningful music that is soothing our ears. So this is exactly what the characteristic of a biotechnologist. A biotechnologist is a very, very potential person because he has to be both interdisciplinary as well as multidisciplinary. So this is exactly what differentiates a biotechnologist from any other science. With one word, if I have to, I cannot agree more with Shekhar when he introduced about the role of biotechnologists, what they are playing today. Absolutely. Very, very immense role is being played by biotechnologists and all the biologists. So thank you very much, Shekhar, for creating this platform, and I give it back to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. I would like to bring in our other panel member. So, to start with, Dr. Kirnam, if you could add a few words to this panel.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Shekhar. It's a pleasure to be here. I mean, all the names that are involved in this, the organizations are quite recognizable. Biotechnika has been around for a while. Obviously, I mean, we have not directly been in touch, but I think it has indirectly
Yes.
affected all of us over the several years. So it's nice to
Right.
be here. And of course, Biocon Academy and Dr. Ishwaran himself is very recognizable. A lot of the, I mean, in my opinion, Biocon Academy has had a very large impact on the quality of graduates and trainees, especially working in the industry. I mean, not everybody is aware of the level of skill and the kind of problem solving that is needed. Most of the the training and the education that we see on a daily basis is in the academic sector, but I think it's very important to realize that there is a large pool of people working in biotechnology in the industry sector, and Biocon Academy is clearly one of the organizations that has had a great impact on that. And in general, I think all of us feel and know over time that Bangalore and Karnataka in general, I think, has focused a lot on the life sciences. And so we find personally, I think that the quality of graduates coming out of that ecosystem is quite good. And I feel that other areas and cities such as Hyderabad, where I was educated and grew up, can emulate some of the models that I think have been implemented there. So yeah, it's great to be here, and I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Bala, if you would like to add a few words before we get started.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for all of you to be for having us in the program. It's really what you say, very heartening to talk about what we do and how the ecosystem is helping the sector to grow both in Karnataka as well as all over India. And the efforts in that by Biocon, which is one of the leading biotech company, which is there for last 40 years, and they are understanding the need for taking up training program, not only for students, but at the same time for even career scientists also. So there's been a huge contribution from Biocon Academy for that matter. And apart from that, as Dr. Karnam said, the government and other people are also putting a lot of efforts to make sure that the sector grows in terms of by providing well-trained human resources for the sector. And in the efforts, I would like to highlight a few of the things what we are doing and how industry is also collaborating with us in terms of extending those kind of support to the industry to grow on what we see now. So you said by another 10 years it's going to be a 200 billion industry. I think it's a very small number. Already we are targeting $150 billion by 2025. I think it's going to be
Right.
double what we're talking, 3 times, 4 times we are going
Right.
to talk about it.
Of course.
Yep.
Right. Right. Thank you, Dr. Bala, for your kind words. So now we would start the panel discussion. And we have a few frequently asked questions from our subscribers and all the students and all the people who are a member of Biotechnika. Before I get started, I would like to throw a question to our panelists. The question is, what are the current upskilling trends in the biotech sector, and how do you think it is going to help our people in the sector? Over to you.
You want me to answer, or probably it can come from industry?
Anyone
That
can
will be
pick it
better.
up.
Dr. Kirnam, probably you can
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So I think just looking back a little bit, the biotech sector has had some things that are constant. I mean, there will always be some things that are very important. So I would still call them trends because they'll
Right.
always be important. And I think it's important to mention those. So when I was a student 25 years ago and now, it is still important to know your basics, right? And to get the concepts right, to know how to go about answering a question, whether it's a concept or something that's associated with research and finding out new things and discovery. So those will never go out of trend, right? So it's
Of
just very
course.
important to have that. But that said, I think the exciting thing about, I think, the last few years, and as we look forward, I think perhaps the next decade, is that a lot of the molecular biology platforms that we have heard about, where the basic science has always been there, but the translation to products, to both in terms of healthcare and in the other sectors, I think is just beginning to come about now. I think industry is going through a large change. We are hearing trends, of industry getting interested. For example, one of the things that's discussed a lot these days is the new kinds of therapies, the cell and gene therapy sector, where obviously, as Shekhar mentioned, the last year has made mRNA very popular. Even though mRNA is something
Right.
that all biologists know, it's now suddenly everybody's talking about it. So the
Yes.
platforms to work with mRNA and using them in healthcare and in other applications, I think, is definitely a trending topic, and we'll probably hear about it for a while. Added to that, of course, the for the last almost a decade, I think the monoclonal antibodies, which have been used in therapy as an alternative to small molecules, I think will continue to grow. I think that's a very strong
Right.
area. And the very new ones, which are CRISPR, and in the cell based therapies, the CAR T therapy, chimeric antigen receptor therapy, I think we'll continue to hear about them. I think the ecosystem has to evolve around them a little bit more, in my opinion, but they're definitely here to stay. It's up to the ecosystem, both the academic training sector and the industrial sector, to take up the challenge. But I think these are areas that I feel we're hearing a lot about these days.
Right. Right. Dr. Ishwaran, would you like to add something?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Kiranam, to throw light on the areas. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Maybe in addition to that, maybe I can add a couple of things. One is upskilling in biotech sector itself. It's a good trend, what I'm saying, because that has not been a very popular one in the skilling area. Particularly because employment itself was a challenge some years back. So even today, to some extent, so we cannot deny that. So upskilling, reskilling, and cross-skilling, that philosophy itself is quite very encouraging in the biotech industry. That is on one side. On the other side, from technology side, I would like to really look into the transformation from structure-based discovery to a evidence-based discovery. More we move forward, we see the trend that actually started happening in the startup ecosystem quite strongly. But I think that will actually capture the attention of the medium to large organization also, to start using the very powerful technologies like artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning to really reduce the time for the discovery. So the turnaround time to make a molecule to get to the market really has reduced conceptually. But it will, if we continue in this direction, I think we are not too far from reducing the uh, turnaround time for a molecule from lab to market from 12 years to maybe 3 4 years. So that is one trend we started seeing, and it is very important to keep a tap on it and understand how to really fuel this whole thing and encourage this ecosystem to adapt newer technologies in biotechnology to really grow faster, is what my opinion.
So, rightly said by Dr. Ishwaran there. Dr. Bala, if you would like to add a few pointers.
Yeah, as industry expert has told, molecular is the one which is going to make a lot of difference with a lot of what you call information flowing from both bioinformatics as well as sequencing and all those areas. So we are able to understand some of the finer aspects of the some of the diseases what we are having, and we are able to find out biomarkers which is helping us to going. One thing is that curing is always there, a treatment is there, but diagnosis is the one which is going to make a lot of difference in coming days. And with lot many startups with engineering, like what Ishwaran said, with AI and machine learning, all those technologies, molecular is the one which is going to make a lot of difference. And it's very important now. See, as we know, like most of us are, when we study, we have all the concepts put into us. We gather everything on that, but when it comes to application, again, we have some gap always, which we are talking most of the time. And now it is very important, even for those who are working, to get upskilled on certain aspects of it, so that as I told you, it's the technology is coming so fast. And we can see that almost I mean, we're not seeing any unicorns as of now in health sector, but I'm very sure in next another 1 or 2 3 years we are going to have a lot many, and lot of opportunity in that matter. And I would say, as I said, molecular is the one people have to focus on, to understand the finer aspect and how it can be, converted into a product, or take into idea, or convert into a product or a services.
Right, right. So, guys, there you have it. Yes, upskilling is the next thing which you should be doing. And you heard from our experts. You have great things happening in the RNA, mRNA, and you have great things happening in CRISPR. You have great things happening in CAR T therapies, gene therapy, monoclonal antibodies, a lot of things. In fact, in a recent podcast, we had discussed about how, I mean, very soon it'll be possible that, you know, we will be able to discover, you know, thousands of biomolecules within a span of years with the help of artificial intelligence and quantum computing and things like that. So, upskilling, now we know, okay, that's something which is the need of the hour and the trend we know. I would like to, add here, Biocon Academy is one of the India's probably only corporate social responsibility academy which runs courses related to upskilling. And in case you're looking forward to it, they have an excellent course starting, which is called as Biocon KGI Biosciences program, which is starting very soon. I would request someone to post the link from the Biocon team into the chat box, or probably from our team. If they could post the link, you can check that out afterwards, after the webinar. It's a very important step which Biocon Academy is taking, and I'm sure you should get in. Now, having said that, I would like to come to the next part of our discussion, where there are a lot of freshers who just pass out of college, and they look for jobs, right? So if they are looking for jobs, and we say upskilling you should do. So my question to the panel of today is how upskilling can help the freshers in particular. So over to you, Dr. Ishwaran and Dr. Karnam, if you could highlight on this.
Shall I take it?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Before I answer to this question, I would like to mention something about the earlier point. The Biocon KGA certificate program in bioscience is the flagship program of Biocon, and we are going to launch the 21st batch very soon. So it's been there for 6 years now. So as
Right.
Shekhar was mentioning, just check it out and then you see what is there in that. Okay, coming to the question on how freshers can be upskilled. Before we go into the aspect of upskilling the freshers, first of all, we need an understanding that the qualification is not equal to skill. Uh, because there is
Point.
a there is a clear demarcation between having a skill and then upskilling. So the first is skill development. So it starts with the skill development, because um, not pointing fingers at any of the domain or any of the fraternity. As far as academics are concerned, they are building a very strong background, theoretical background. And it is very important that we need to give the platform to the students to actually see how these scientific principles can be applied. So this
Right.
application based understanding is very important, because once they start understanding that whatever they are studying is applied, then there is no hesitation to study. So basically, we need to bridge the gap between the qualification and the skill. So once that gap is reduced, then comes the question of upskilling. So the first step of upskilling is more towards specializing that person for one particular domain. He comes with a
Correct.
mix of skills. He may be a microbiologist, biochemist, or a zoologist, or botanist, or biotechnologist, or he comes with a different domain. So now the
Right.
question is how we are going to help this candidate to get into a particular domain and understand
Mhm.
how to successful in that domain moving forward. So that is the step we are exactly talking about. Moving forward, I'll speak more about what are the aspects that are to be considered in the
Mhm.
upskilling program, after all other panel members speak.
Okay. So I would like to invite Dr. Bala, if you could add some lines.
Yeah, very important, skilling at graduation level possible. That's so. I mean, I'm happy to say that Government of Karnataka has taken a lead in implementing the new education policy, wherein it is not about, as Dr. Ishwaran said, it's not about just qualification. It is about imparting the skill also. So keeping that point of view, the curriculum has been totally revamped in terms of providing internship and also the students, like what they say, the 360 degree kind of training has been planned, wherein industry and academic, both of them come together and train the students the way they required, such that at the moment the student pass out from the what you call the graduation or post graduation, they should be able to contribute to the growth of the company or the institute where they are working on. And as I told you, it's a very important. I mean, compared to earlier times where it is, I mean, many of the colleges didn't have facility and all those things. But now you know that both central government as well as state government is funding a lot of especially academic setup with equipments and other things. And it is a time both industry and academia come together and make use of the new education policy that has been implemented in Karnataka. And I'm sure other states also will be thinking about it. But still, it is. I mean, it's very important that both of them come together. And the graduate, see, most of the students join with a lot of aspirations, and we have seen, especially in some of the new areas. I mean, you have people join the course, and in between they don't know what to do. So that should not be the case. When they join, only we should be able to guide them what exactly the outcome of the training, what they get it, and where they're going to be. So this is what we are
Right.
focusing on, and I'm sure
Mhm.
industry and academia coming together will make a lot of difference here.
Wonderful lines added there. Thank you, Dr. Bala. Dr. Kirnam, if you would like to add a few pointers to our panelists, please.
Sure. Yeah. Basically, yeah, I agree with everything they're saying. Um, I mean, from a student's perspective, I think there's always a bit of confusion, unfortunately, and about what the prospects are after you get a degree in a given area. Again, just remembering how we all felt when we were students. I think not much has changed, which is kind of sad.
Right.
But I think what's important now is that while that's one category of problems to be addressed separately, from a student's perspective, I think, as the panelists pointed out, I think at the bachelor's level, if
Hmm.
students can really focus on just you know getting beyond their curriculum, taking advantage of all the resources that are now available, uh, uh, and without necessarily having access to laboratory facilities much, which is still very important, but even in the current circumstance, if they can inform themselves about the current trends, get their concepts right, make sure they know what's going on, and be smart about it. Just be informed, and if you're talking to somebody, be able to impress them, whether it's an academic scientist or somebody from the industry, because there will be opportunities to interact with people through various means. I think putting oneself in that position for a fresher, upskilling
Right.
is about knowing things, knowing what the trends
Correct.
are, understanding the concepts, which can be done, largely by oneself and by relying on resources, talking to teachers. That I think puts them in a very strong position. The other problems about not having access to labs or not having experience and things like that do exist, but despite that, I think students can do much better. I mean, for example, we are, as Dr. Subramania was saying, the academia industry interaction is so important. Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences
Right.
was, I mean, the in Telangana and in erstwhile Andhra Pradesh and Telangana now, is the one institute which is a result of that kind of thinking. Dr. Anji Reddy always wanted to create an institute which focuses on discovery, which is close to the industry, which can do translational research. So it's really a result of all of that today we have this institute, flourishing, supported by industry very well, and
Right.
having a focused center for training. And the goal of this really is to give students an opportunity to come and learn. We are always open to letting students interact with us. There are limitations in terms of how many students can be put through the system, but that doesn't prevent us from, for example, on a web-based format, to interact with as many students as possible, sharing knowledge, informing them about opportunities that they may not be aware of. The Telangana government has definitely put in a lot of effort into life sciences. They've created, units and focused divisions which focus only on the area, and trying to connect the academic institutes in Telangana and Hyderabad with the industry. Some of this has to get translated to the grassroots level, like in colleges, especially, because I think the college level education is very important. But to summarize the main points here, I feel students are today in a position to educate themselves using the resources available to
Right.
them, and put themselves in a better position. I think opportunities are definitely there, and they're increasing.
Wonderful pointers there by Dr. Kiran. Thank you so much for your pointers, sir. So, people, my dear audience, if you just look at all these pointers which our panelists gave, this is exactly the same thing I keep telling you guys in almost every video. You have to keep yourself updated. Internet superhighway is right in front of you. When we were graduating or post-graduating, we didn't have this luxury. You have it. But it depends on you how you utilize it. If you use it for entertainment, you're not going to go from 0 to 1 or A to B or A to Z. You have to decide how you want to utilize the information age and how to imbibe all the knowledge inside you. So having said that, thank you so much to all the panelists for all the pointers. Now, I have a very important point which is coming up, which is why upskilled candidates are preferred compared to a person who is not upskilled himself by biotech companies. I am sure Dr. Ishwaran would love to answer that. Over to you, sir.
Sure. Because it's a very simple fact. Doesn't need much of thinking. The stakes are very high. Okay.
That's right.
Right.
So we are talking about biologics and biopharmaceuticals, and stakes are very high. That doesn't mean that the small molecule stakes are less. Okay, but the stakes are much higher in the biotech sector. Number one. Number two, the competitiveness in the biotech market is extremely high. So, as Shekhar was rightly mentioning, we are in the very important phase of the biotech market. We are almost in the inflection point where we are looking at quick growth, a very, very quick growth moving forward. So, when we are in that type of situation, it is a real importance to have skilled manpower upfront, right? We should have candidates who get the ball rolling quickly. So the organizations take, or at least they want to take, less time in training these candidates before they start delivering. So this is one of the area where the industry, or particularly the biotech sector, looks into having a little skilled candidates when compared to the candidates who are yet to be skilled.
Right. So rightly said there, companies will always prefer upskilled candidates because the stakes are very, very high. So if you would like to add something, Dr. Kiranam or Dr. Bala, please interrupt me. Would you
Yeah,
like
I
to
mean,
add something?
absolutely. I
Yeah,
think
please.
the point is well made. I think it's a large, it's a significant investment that a company makes into anybody they take in. I mean,
Absolutely.
Dr. Reddy's, for example, has as a result of all of their experience, they have a very strong technical training organization within Dr. Reddy's that does training for fresh recruits, and like as a continuous training effort. And they've now actually begun to reach out and do training even to people who they don't employ, because they realize that
Right.
the impact of that training will actually feed back
It's
into the
huge.
industry in general. So I think those barriers are beginning to dissolve. It's, clearly the industry recognizes that, candidates
Mhm.
who are, well informed, quality in terms of their thought and their work, is very important. It's always been the case, but I think, as everybody's pointing out, the stakes are just getting bigger and bigger. And if we really have to, reach that performance level, there's no other way. Just there's only one way to go, and we have to just drag the system forward.
Right, right. Dr. Bala, if you would like to add something.
Yeah, I mean, this is very important for people to keep themselves updated for not only for reason personal career growth reason, but companies also are pivoting in many ways in terms of because the applications are huge, whatever technology is coming. They need to turnover, and as everybody said, turnover time is very very important here. So when you have a candidate who is having versatile, like what we say usually in management and all, you have multitasking. So like that, you have a
Right,
candidate who has a multi knowledge about or interdisciplinary knowledge about 2 3 areas. It can be microbiology, biochemistry, or biochemistry and other related thing. So it's an advantage for the company to place them immediately and make sure the project or whatever has been given goes across. So keeping that point of view, I would rather suggest if anybody I mean, after graduation or post graduation are not able to find a good job or not satisfied with the existing job, they need to undergo some kind of training which can add value to the one what they already have. It's not necessary they have to start new, but sometimes it helps also. But I would suggest rather build upon the knowledge what they have or the skill they have. That's what we are talking here.
right.
Upskilling is this make sure the skill what you have get sharpened by some means.
Mhm. Right, right. I would like to add a point here which I can recall. Uh, in general, what is a company or a biotech company? In fact, any company you take it in the world, they are out there to create a dent in the universe with their products or services, right? They're not here to just give you a job. They are here to look for candidates who can help them create such products which can create a dent in the universe. If you are that candidate, they will readily hire you. And how do you become that? By becoming upskilled, right? And that's where Biotechnika or Biocon Academy or Dr. Reddy's Life Sciences Institute is doing their bit. Karnataka's government is doing their bit. But the decision to take up these courses, this upskilling things, is up to you. You have to decide whether you want to do it and outshine in the field of biosciences, or you just want to go home complaining that this sector has no scope. So choice is yours, decision is yours. So having said that, I would like to come to the next part of our agenda for today, which is, of course, if you are looking for a job, you're looking for salaries, right? So salaries for upskilled freshers, what can we expect in the year 2022? I will post this question to our panelists. Anybody can take up, please.
Okay. I'll start first if you would like.
Please, please.
Please.
Okay. See, first and foremost, we have to really move away from this concept of salary. We have to
Correct.
start thinking what is the value. Okay, what
Correct.
is your value add
Totally
and
agree.
what is the value? So this is very important because if you start salary, then it becomes very easy. If a company X is paying 10,000, and if the company is Y is going to pay 12,000, I'll move because it's more to do with salary. So when I say value, we are actually talking about the learning opportunities. So the learning doesn't stop with you getting a job. Okay, so it is a learning journey.
Right.
So as long as you see the job as a learning opportunity, then the importance you attach to what you earn becomes less. I'm not saying that you would have to do it for charity, right? At the same time,
Of
the
course.
objective should be different. The objective should be learning, and earning can happen. So it's not a very good idea to attach any numbers to it. There is no
Correct.
point of attaching any numbers to it because these
Absolutely.
numbers are very misleading. It depends on the role, it depends on the qualification, it depends on from which organization you are coming from, to what extent you are going to contribute to the role. It depends on everything. So there is no point of looking at a number. Look at the
Right.
opportunity from what is the possibility for me to learn more. From that
Correct.
perspective, if you start looking at it, earning happens automatically.
So value addition leads to earning as well as learning. Wonderful lines there by Dr. Ishwaran. Over to you, Dr. Kirnam, if you would like to add something.
Yep, very point very well taken. I think also
Yes.
in general, I mean, the salary trends are not just a result of like one sector, right? From whatever, I mean, I'm not really aware of all the details, but obviously salaries tend to go up, right? There is no there is no other way unless an industry is really collapsing or not doing well, which is not the case here. So I think the outlook
Right.
is positive in general, but I think the focus on that tends to make things a little difficult in terms of choices. I think stability is more important, right? And if you think about that, um, and as Dr. Ishwaran pointed out very well, I mean, as you learn, you realize what your value is. And once you know that and you're confident about it, I think you get less worried about salary because you realize
Right.
that if you are bringing value, if you know what you know well, that you can impact the organization or any other organization, so the level of insecurity goes down significantly. So best not to worry about salary, especially for freshers, if that's what your question is directed at. It's best not to worry about it. The best thing to do is worry about stability, what value
Worry
one
about learning.
brings, and
Right.
that's probably more important.
Absolutely. Dr. Bala, if you would like to add
Usually,
something.
usually the career graph is, if something happens, meteoric rise, it definitely it'll fall down. So it has to be a gradual. So then only
Yeah.
you can hold on the position. We know that somebody who is growing too fast, it has to, it's a natural. There are very few cases where they succeed and keep on succeeding, but we have seen
Mm-hmm.
many of the times unless they gradually grow and understand the requirement of the position what they are into. So it's very important for that. And as Ishwar and other people said, in the beginning of the career, I don't think you can expect too much returns, and it should not be your focus also. Your focus is to understand what kind of how you can contribute to the growth of the company and learn some of the things what is required for the company, not what you are learning. See, it's all give and take. Once you start giving to the company, obviously company will start giving it to you. So it should not be the other way. I mean,
Absolutely.
I usually tell to my some of the people like, see, your growth is company's growth. Company's growth is not your growth.
Correct.
Okay, so that being the
Rightly
case,
said.
that being the case, I mean, somebody should feel okay. I mean, the only thing I can tell another one thing important is that when somebody says that I'm leaving the job, then at least 2, 3 management people should come and talk to you and counsel you. Why don't you stay back? That should be your contribution. Then you know that you're contributing and it helps you to understand. But as I said again, initial years, and again, classic example people give always in biotechnology, like biotechnologists are like a wine, and as they age, their value
They grow
increases.
valuable.
They grow
Yes.
value, and obviously because the reason is that, see, most of the thing we are touching base with the natural products and natural phenomena. So it's very difficult for people to understand, like, what we see in IT and other places where it's you code and
Mm-hmm.
something happens and some kind of conclusion is there. But here it is not the case. Suppose if I come from my industry, so if you say we want to separate a biomolecule, you cannot get a pure molecule just like that. You need a lot of techniques, a lot of finer aspects which you have to understand. Then only you are able to isolate a pure compound. So that being the case, it takes a lot of time and efforts to understand clearly where your contribution is. Then
Right.
I'm very sure any talented person, like, again, is a classic example. I don't have to I just repeating only, but no talent will be what you say the company will ignore. If you are talented,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely
Right.
sure they're going to reward you in the manner possible.
Correct. Correct. Thank you so much for your pointers, Dr. Bala. I would, because this is my favorite topic and I interact with a lot of youngsters on a daily basis. So, I'm, bubbling with pointers. So I would just add one more point here. People, whoever is listening, if you are a fresher and if you are an upskilled fresher, remember you cannot reach Z unless you start from A. When you were in nursery or KG, you learned alphabet, right? You started from A and reached Z. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you progress. So, okay, I've done the upskilling and tomorrow I want crores of rupees in salary. That's not going to happen. But yes, the more valuable you become for the company, the company will run towards you. Okay. And that's the secret mantra towards your success in the biotech sector. Having said that, I would quickly move on to the next pointer for today. Now, this is again a quick, frequently asked question, which I would like to tell my panelists. Many students and many subscribers also come to me and ask, okay, tell me, sir, what are the trends which we might see in the 2022 or beyond in the biotech sector or biotech education space, and how should we navigate through this and grow in our career? So I would like to throw this question to Dr. Kirnam first. If you could enlighten us with your pointers, sir, please.
Yeah, so in response to the first question, the upskilling question that we mentioned, so I think the new areas that are out there are, the cell and gene therapy areas. I think again from just taking a student's perspective, if the situation being what it is for a student, they are worried about their future.
Right.
They're interested in the area, they don't quite know how to go forward. I think it's both the ecosystem has several components. There is industry, there is curriculum and government policy, and then there are the educational institutions. For everybody to work together, come up with a great ecosystem which raises the quality and benefits everybody is the ideal situation. And I'm quite sure there are people and groups in all these sectors that are working towards it, and we should just remember that. But from a student's perspective, it may not look great, it may be bleak. So I think the first thing I would do if I was a student is to again just work with what I have. The college that they go to, the university that they go to, is responsible for their education.
Right.
If the students pay the fees, attend classes, take the exams and leave, they get X, right? But if they take advantage of what there is, if they ask for more information, if they do the best they can to get what they want, demand more from that system a little bit, I think the system will respond, because it is, it's after all designed to do it. Quality might suffer, because people don't ask, they let it go. So as a student, I would be just more demanding. Expect more from your college, from your university. Ask for things that you feel like you're not getting. And then when,
Right.
in my own experience, when people contact us, for example, a student wants to learn something, they want to come into a lab, they want to do a project. When they write an email, nobody responds. This is very typical, right? And they get disappointed, perhaps. I remember going through that when I was a student. So just don't give up. It may look silly or kind of, too idealistic to say it, but it's a very simple message. Just don't give up. Because most of the time, labs who take students as trainees or companies who take people as trainees do so because the person has just been persistent and just keep asking, go after it, just be focused on your goals. I think that's a good thing to do as a student, of course. And second is, in interacting with industry, we see a lot of people from industry say, don't be hyper focused on one area. Don't have too many expectations and think, I only want to do this. It doesn't work that way. Be a little broad-minded. Remain open to options. You never know where your career takes you. It's only a matter of getting the first opportunity, and once you do and you take advantage of it, you will grow and you will see that the industry is very large. So I would just say that again, stay abreast of your knowledge. Make sure you get your concepts right. What you need to know what you need to know. If somebody asks you a question, you need to answer it right. And then try to keep abreast of the current trends as much as possible. And be patient and don't give up. I think it'll happen. Of course, this requires practical support as well, family and all of that. Assuming, I'm making the assumption that that exists. In the unfortunate situations where it doesn't, there's not much one can do. But I think for a career in the life science and pharma industry, one needs to be, the education level, the awareness level needs to be high, because it's a high skill area. And that demand is definitely there. And I think as a student, one should demand more from the system, and then the system will respond, I think.
Correct. Yeah, to
Rightly
add the
said.
point, I would
Yeah.
like to add few points just to make sure that from the government point of view, again, as you know that I mean, we have many programs both from central and state. For example, we have from DBT Builder program, then we have Star Colleges program, then we have Skill Vignan program. All those programs are aimed at bringing academia industry together. That has been the focus for all the while. And through this program, we are not only supporting colleges, we are supporting students as well as we are supporting industry wherever possible. So that being the case, the trend in next coming days, especially in biotechnology, is to have more hands-on at the graduation level, and students also should be focused on that. It's. I mean, as I told you, it's more you learn at that age, you know that people. I mean, you know, we are strong mentally at that point of time. It's like a blotting paper. We acquire all those things as again
Right.
see industry always see again I mean when you say current trends, it doesn't mean that all the current trends are going to become a product or a services tomorrow. It's not going to be the case, because from the
Hmm.
R&D to come to product level, it takes a long journey for company to come. So it's always
Hmm.
I mean again you have to choose your career where you want to be. You want to be in production, you want to be in quality control, you want to be in R&D. So based on that, you have to plan yourself. And I'm very sure, I mean, as you know, that most of the universities, colleges, all are what you call almost updating the curriculum. And obviously, see, there'll always be a gap between academia and industry, but the gap can be reduced with all cooperation from all the sectors.
Rightly said by Dr. Bala. Dr. Ishwaran, if you would like to add something, please.
Couple of things, Shekhar. Absolutely, that is going to overlap with what Dr. Kiranam and Dr. Bala has said. The first thing is that we are talking about 4 years of education, whether it's, with the new education policy, we are talking about a 4 years undergraduate program. So you have 4 years to look into what you want. Like, it is not a question of fourth year you are making a decision. You have a long time to really think and understand what you actually want. That is number one. In that, I would certainly go with what Dr. Kiran was mentioning. We have to have the practice of really understanding how to utilize the resource that is available around you in these 4 years. Shekhar, it's really a surprise for me when sometimes when I ask the students, "Do you know what is the PhD title of your lecturer?" They don't know, or they don't want to know, because they are not teaching the subject what they have done PhD on. The
Right.
unfortunate part is he is teaching certain things which I agree, but tomorrow when you want to grow, it may be
Hmm.
of great help you if you know what is the research area of your lecturer.
Correct.
So, understanding and utilizing the resources around you is very, very important. I'm not only talking about the faculty. Faculty is the major resource that is available around for the students all for 4 years. That's a huge resource one can tap on. In addition to that, there are a lot of colleges. Uh, there can be certain colleges who are not able to invest much in the biotechnology area, but there are colleges who have invested heavily, not only in the
Hmm.
equipments but also in the library side. So it is very
Right.
important for the students to really utilize the resources that is available around them for the 4 years of their stay in their respective colleges. That is number one. The second
Hmm.
area to really navigate through is in our time, as Dr. Kiran was rightly mentioning, in our time, we are
Right.
also clueless on how to go about. But today, you have a lot of very strong networking platforms. You don't have to create your LinkedIn profile after you complete your BTech. You can create
Yeah.
when you join the BTech.
Absolutely.
Then you start adding to it. When you have a LinkedIn profile, then you know very much that every 6 months, every 1 year, I have to update something or the other. Otherwise, the account will get expired. So at least for that, do some certification program, attend
Correct.
some seminars, add it to that. When you start having a very powerful, active LinkedIn profile, as Dr. Kennam as well as Dr. Bala was mentioning, first you become visible to the industry that you are available. This is your skill. Industry is looking for skills. We are looking for skilled people. So it is very important that you become available for the eyes of the others. So these are the couple of things
Right.
we have to do to really de-risk your entire, stigma of whether will I get a job or not. Certainly, as
Right.
Dr. Kiran was also mentioning, plenty of jobs are available for freshers. There is no doubts about it. Only few barriers have
Right.
to be removed from your mind, from our mind. When
Right.
I say your mind, from our
Yes.
mind, we need to
Yes.
remove. Because there are cases we
Right.
have seen that the students come with the excuse saying that my parents won't allow me to go to Delhi and work. That doesn't mean job is not available. You are not available for the job.
Yes. Point.
Right?
Point. That's a point I always tell the
Yeah.
subscribers of
So
Biotechnika. You're right.
essentially, you have
Correct.
4 years to convince your system to make yourself
Absolutely.
available for the job. So one
Yes.
thing specifically I would like to leave with this particular point is, first you deserve before you desire.
Right, right. In fact, a few hours back, there was a job posted on Biotechnika, and someone pinged me in Telegram saying, "Sir, I'm not in Bangalore, so how can I do this job?" Then you have to be
Absolutely.
available, right? That's a very valid point which you just made, Dr. Ishwaran. And I would like to add one more point here. So trends are always there. There is something always changing, right? Change is always constant. But how faster you adapt to that change will make you successful. If you don't create a LinkedIn profile, you don't go and add some certifications, add some skill sets which you acquire over a period of 4 years of your course, and later on the upskilling which happens. Later on, don't blame anyone in the system saying that I didn't get a job. You were not active. See, you have to be on the active side of the periodic table if you have studied chemistry. Don't be inert like argon, right? You have to be on the active side. Things will automatically come to you. The more you demand from the universe will give you. The biotech universe is right there for all of you. Having said that, a very important part of the biosciences universe are women. And I'm very happy to share with all our panelists that majority of the biosciences subscribers of Biotechnika are women. So, I have a question for all of you. What are the measures ensured by companies while hiring more women, and what are the trends we can see in 2022 which will be more women friendly in the sector? Over to you, Dr. Kidnap.
Well, before I answer that question, it seems rather odd that a group of men are talking about this. We should have it. Anyway,
Right,
that said, I think, I mean, whatever I'm aware of, I mean, certainly I don't see a problem there at all. I mean, I think even since the time I was a student, even now there are just more girls who show up in the life sciences space. It's just a fact. I
right.
mean, for whatever reason. So, and I think that's always been there. Industry for I mean, I know Dr. Reddy's, for example, has a pretty strong program in trying to make sure that women throughout their career, especially if they have issues with family or maternity, they get a lot of support. And whatever I hear about is quite positive. I don't think such things existed 10 years ago even. So clearly in Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Reddy's, at least I know for a fact there is a very strong trend. And there are several, I think, statutory, regulatory changes being done to make sure that there are no issues with discomfort in the workplace, any issues with behavior and things like that. So I think that's definitely going to continue.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Dr. Ishwaran, if
To
you'd like to. Yeah, Dr. Bala,
uh,
please, please.
Yeah, I mean, here I have to tell you that, as Karnam said, we have more girl students and participating in life sciences. We can see in our BICEP program and other program, we have lot many girls coming. The boys are less
Right.
here. Many times we see that, but only problem is that the career break the girls have because of the family related issues they have. So that's where they have to plan properly, because see, they have to give a kind of some kind of what you say, and they have to probably closely interact with the seniors, whom they report to, or the companies and other places, so that it can be planned. So because I don't think any company would like to have them back also. But only thing is, we know that it is very important. So keeping that mind, they need to constantly interact with the company and convey the what kind of program and what is happening at personal level. So that may be easier, because we have seen most of the girls. We have seen that because of the family, other things, they're not able to to continue the career. So that should not be the case here. And coming to as such, I mean, recruitment and support system, that always, all governments has been supporting girls to not only in education but also in job also. And many governments, as like our governments, especially if outside Bangalore or outside city, so a lot of incentives are also being provided by many governments. I think this all shows that all efforts is being made to have them in the mainstream.
All right, rightly said by Dr. Bala. If you'd like to add something, Dr. Ishwar.
Sure. I don't. It's a simple inquisitiveness I'm asking you, Shekhar. Did anybody
Yeah.
from Biocon Academy posted this question to such a diversity? Absolutely,
I'm
a
not sure.
simple. We are
Well, the
clearly
question is
serious.
here, so we have to
Yeah.
take it up.
So yes, diversity is certainly looked into very carefully in this sector, and particularly Biocon and Biocon Academy is really committed to maintain the diversity. And as all of us know, life science sector is dominated absolutely by women candidates,
Women.
and uh, absolutely the workplace is made very suitable for them to really take up the challenges. Only one
Right.
thing I would like to specifically point out is what I remember, what Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shah usually tells to the students whenever she addresses the Biocon Academy students is it is nothing to do with the gender. It is to do with
Yeah.
the sense of purpose. So
Yes.
everyone should have a sense of purpose. So whether it is a man or a woman doesn't really matter. So if you are committed to what you are actually up to, then it doesn't matter. What compromise you make or what adjustments you make is really going to pay off towards your commitment to what you want to do. So that sense
Right.
of purpose actually drives away all these questions, whether men or women in the industry and particularly in biotech sector. So I certainly
Okay.
everybody has to look into the sense of purpose part of it.
Right. I would like to add one last point to this discussion. Uh, my dear audience, if you are listening to me carefully, I have always said this: never ever bow down to circumstances. If you are a woman, you face more circumstances than men. That's the truth. I know it because I have seen it. 95% of Biotechnika is comprised of women, right? Not just the subscribers, the company also, right? In fact, the head of our academics is women, right? Biocon is headed by women. Women have made this sector, okay, they've contributed a lot to this sector by not bowing down to circumstances. So don't bow down to circumstances, fight back, okay? And if you're driven by purpose, then those adjustments will feel like a piece of cake, right? So having said that, I would like to bring up the last pointer, and then we'll take the audience question. And there is a question coming up all the time that are we giving a certificate for those who are looking for it? Yes, we are giving. If you're a member of our Telegram group, you're getting it. Okay, let's come back quickly to the last point, and then we'll take up the audience question. Advantages of hiring skilled fresher over a straight out of college student. What's advantage? If you would like to add some pointers there. Over to you guys.
Dr. Kiran, would you like?
I think just to reiterate, I think the clear advantage of the company is less investment. Time is more valuable than money. So the less time a company has to invest in training somebody, the better for them. And of course, it's
True.
better for the employee too, because they go into a strong position and they can leverage that and grow quite a bit. And also, I think in general, it just makes more sense because you have more options if you're better skilled, you're perceived that way, you have more options. One point I'd like to
Right.
make, just coming out of all this, is that I think for students it's best to keep your options open. It's possible to still do it. I think the sector is such that the difference between the skills you need to be good in industry versus any other setting like an academic research setting, I mean, we see a lot of this confusion among students. They feel like they want to do one and not the other. I think those differences are fast disappearing. Skill is skill.
Yeah.
A scientist working in a lab in a university or a college or an institute is not very different from a scientist working in an industry. The way they work is probably different, but what you need to know and how you apply what you know is very much the same. So that way, just think broadly, and just know that if you're better everywhere.
Right. Dr. Ishwaran, if you would like to add something.
As soon as you asked, is there any, what is the advantage of having a skilled, manpower or the skilled students? That's exactly is the reflection of our objective of Biocon Academy, to create a globally competitive biotech ecosystem in India through skill development. This is exactly the
Right.
verbatim we have kept, for the simple reason that we all know that the sector is a very fast, rapidly growing sector. So to be a
Sector.
part of the rapidly growing sector, it is very important to be skilled. This is the crux of it.
Right. Dr. Bala, if you would like to add something, please.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, to talk and I'm from a government sector, but to talk from a business point of view, it makes sense, business sense. That's all it is. Having a good candidate is always makes a difference to the growth of the company. Everybody knows about it. But the thing is, like, so usually freshers, why many of the companies don't prefer freshers, because only reason is that it is not that they don't want to hire them, because the industry requires some kind of small experience. So that experience they can gain by undergoing internship at the fag end of the graduation period. That is very important. So in that case, that
Right.
small experience, whatever 3 months, 6 months, whatever we are talking, that will give an idea what industry is. See, industry doesn't.
Right.
Industry basically is sometimes is very monotonous. Many of them don't know. They think every day some new things is coming happening in industry. Industry is not that. Again, in our bicep students, if you talk or other people, I'll tell. You've seen the Karate Kid movie. That there is one guy. The kid has been asked to put this what you call the shirt again and again, again and again. So that is industry. Okay.
Right.
So that these kind of small nuances, if the students can understand, they will appreciate the what industry is expecting. So you don't. Industry is basically it's a kind of, they want to make it a bigger scale. What you do in a lab, they're going to do in a bigger scale. When you want to do a bigger scale, something happen, you have to do repeatedly again and again. So that's what you can see
Right.
that when somebody goes to internship and all, they'll be asked to do again the same job and again. But that point of time they get bored. Oh no, this company is asking me to only this part, so I'll not continue here. They leave it. Okay, that should not the case. My
Right.
suggestion again, industry is very open. Actually, to be put it bluntly, people when actually industry looks at your attitude and aptitude rather than at the skilling part, as far as my knowledge goes, because skilling you can always impart at any point of time. The aptitude and the
Correct.
attitude, if you have, I think of the job done.
Brilliant points there by Dr. Bala. So now I will open the floor for questions. I would request the team to pick out some questions from the audience and display on the screen so that we can quickly answer them. We don't have much time, so we'll just take 2 to 3 questions. Okay, we have a question from Sumedha. So Sumedha says, is a PhD necessary for senior positions in biotech company? Over to you, panelists, please.
Yes, it is really desirable one, as long as you are planning to enter into a research and development. It's all depends on in which domain you want to grow, because you are talking about senior position. So in an entry level position, the understanding is different. When it comes to senior level position, the understanding is different. There are organizations who encourage the postgraduates to enter into the domain and help them to gain a doctoral degree and continue in the system. So to be successful as a senior in a senior position, yes, it is desirable.
Right. Next question, please. We'll just wait for the next question in the meanwhile. All right. So while we are waiting for the next question, here is a point which I wanted to highlight. Biocon Academy, as well as Biotechnika, we keep coming up with newer courses, newer internships, newer certifications to help you all. And Dr. Reddy's Life Science Institute as well is doing their bit. But whatever you do, remember, you have to be committed through the program, then only you succeed. Okay, we have a question here. Are there enough opportunities for upskilling in the biotech sector for biotech students? Over to you, the panelist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Of
obviously
course, there
you
are.
have absolute, huge opportunities, both government supported, programs as well as industry supported programs. I think it's just a question of choosing how you want to go and how you want to get upskilled. I think,
Right.
opportunity that way is huge that way.
Right. So we'll take one more question, last question. While you're bringing up, I'll continue the discussion here. So yes, Biocon Academy is coming out with the Biocon KGI Biosciences program very soon, and the admissions have begun. The link and the website, bioconacademy.com, you can go and you can check that out. Okay. Now, at this juncture, you have to remember that your career is nothing but soil. Okay. What seeds you put, you grow a tree out of it. So what skills you put in, you grow a tree out of that, right? So remember that you have to go in with the right mindset, and you have to have that right aptitude, right attitude, and an ability to learn new things, because this industry is ever evolving. Can we have one more question, please? Yes, we have a question from Sachin at the rate Dr. Bala. I'm from Maharashtra. Is there any upskilling program centers or state for small scale entrepreneurship or self employment? Over to you, Dr. Bala. This is directed to you.
Uh, the skill program and he's talking self-employment, as with both are somewhat not related, but still it is, you can relate it. But yeah, actually, you want to be self-employment. I think a government is keen to do support that, and I don't know. I can tell you, 100, almost 10, 15 applications which has been is online now, where you can apply, starting from which came a few days back, Nidhi Prayas, where they provide up to 10 lakh rupees funding for you to to start something of your own, if you have a good idea or something which you can work on. But coming to skilling
Right.
again, both the state as well as I'm sure Maharashtra government also will be having some skilling programs with the support of Department of Biotechnology, wherein we have skill Vignan program, where there are 4 or 5 components are there. One, we have faculty training program, then entrepreneurship development program, then student training program, technician training program. So all these programs are there. I would suggest probably you can connect us in LinkedIn somewhere and ask us, and we can provide specific answer. Right now,
Okay.
it will be difficult to put across all the details.
All right. All right. So no problem there. Thank you, Dr. Bala, for your answer. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my dear subscribers, fans, critics of Biotechnika, there you have it. You heard from the horse's mouth. Upskilling is the next thing which you have to take up. Remember, biotech companies are looking out for candidates who have the right talent, right skill set, and who are ready to learn, who are ready to evolve, who are ready to implement. And that can be you. If you want to become that, then Biocon Academy is a corporate social responsibility. It's a CSR initiative. It has nothing to do with profit. It is a not-for-profit initiative where they take up students like you, they upskill them, and then they place them in various biotech companies, not just Biocon, but various other companies. So if you have it, then you must apply. And remember, there's a selection process which is very, very strict. So you'll have to apply, you'll have to write in why exactly you are interested into this program. And if you write the right kind of forwarding letter, you may get a call from Dr. Ishwaran and his team, and they will select you. This program, over a past period of 6 years, I have seen it. I've seen the curriculum. I've seen how passionate the team is about this program and how many professionals they have built out of this. So let me highlight here. Whether you do a virtual internship, a real internship, whether you do a certification course online, offline, whether you go for Biocon KGI program, whatever you do, upskilling is the need of the hour. The biotech sector is ready to monetize on your skills, but you have to be decisive. You have to take action. The link for Biocon Academy KGI program, I will give you in the Telegram group if you are subscribed to our Telegram group. And all the people who attended this webinar till the end will get the certificate as well. The link is t.me/biotechnica. I am sure all of you are a part of it, right? So t.me/biotechnica, go ahead, join our Telegram group, and we are going to give away certificates. The feedback link I'll be sharing right there. If you fill the feedback form, you're going to get the certificates. So with this, I would like to thank our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, this on the screen, the link is given, right? t.me/biotechnica. Please join there. I'll share the link of the Biocon KJA program as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Kirnam. Thank you, Dr. Ishwaran, and thank you, Dr. Bala, for joining us this evening and enlightening us on various aspects of upskilling in the biotech sector. I wish we had more time to interact, but we'll have to stop here. I definitely loved the interaction, especially the pointers from Dr. Kinnam. It was really insightful. Dr. Bala, as always, you always come up with a light of knowledge, a lot of ray of hope from the government side. Thank you so much for joining. And Dr. Ishwaran, I would like to thank you from bottom of our heart for sponsoring this webinar and also being a part of it. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Good night. And it was wonderful. Please join our Telegram group. The link is given in the chat box, and I'll send you the feedback link right there. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Shekhar, and thank you all.